This is how it started, with one picture. This picture led to a more and more complicated riddles. Soon after, it has become the greatest internet mystery. Now, it is becoming something else. It is becoming even something more. It is becoming a myth. I explained everything about the first riddle in the previous episode regarding CICADA 3301. Long story short, there is a message hidden in this image. Solvers were quick to try different methods to find it, and the most common use was to initially open the image file into a text editing application as Notepad, which allows users to read a dump of the bytes in the image. This produced the following text at the end of the file. This was quickly found to be a Caesar cipher because of the repeated characters, hence the reference, and the deciphered text was URL. Decrypting this cipher and following the URL led to the discovery of the following image file. This was a difficult clue to follow, but solvers soon realized that it meant that the program outguess had to be used, hence the words yes and out. The extracted information led to a subreddit which contained information about a book. The book, along with the code, could then be used to uncover a phone number that, when called, played this pre-recorded message.
Very good. You have done well. There are 3 prime numbers associated with the original final.jpg image. 3301 is one of them. You will have to find the other 2. Multiply all 3 of these numbers together and add a .com on the end to find the next step. Good luck. Goodbye.
What is actually CICADA 3301? And have you asked yourself before, what is actually Bitcoin? Or maybe what is actually Wikileaks? What do the greatest internet mystery of all time, the greatest cryptocurrency, and the greatest whistleblowing platform have in common? Are the internet, the financial system, and the intelligence agencies related in any way? Of course they are. CICADA 3301, Bitcoin, and Wikileaks are too. In fact, there may be one and the same thing, with 3 different names. In one of their rare statements, the CICADA 3301 group once wrote, "You have undoubtedly heard of a few of our past projects. Is Wikileaks one of these past projects?" In a Rolling Stone interview with an apparent CICADA insider, he stated that after solving all the puzzles, the organization contacted him by an email. "We are a group of individuals who have proven ourselves much like you have by completing this recruitment contest, and we are drawn together by common beliefs. A careful reading of the texts used in the contest would have revealed some of these beliefs: that tyranny and oppression of any kind must end, that censorship is wrong, and that privacy is an inalienable right." Now that the new brood had been taken in, the 3301 leaders told the new members they would be tasked with creating software that fit the ideology of the group. As the invitation message to the new members noted, the 3301 group primarily focuses on researching and developing techniques to aid the ideas we advocate: liberty, privacy, and security. Can you think about one very big and famous organization which has very similar ideology as CICADA regarding the liberty, privacy, and security? Wikileaks. In the discussions on the darknet site that ran for weeks, the recruits decided to create software to protect whistleblowers like Chelsea Manning, by the way one of the main Wikileaks collaborators, who was facing trial at that time. Almost every researcher of CICADA 3301 usually says that we have not heard from CICADA since 2014. 2014. The thing is, that's not true. In March 2017, WikiLeaks begins its new series of leaks on the US Central Intelligence Agency. Codenamed Vault 7 by WikiLeaks, it is the largest ever publication of confidential documents on the agency. The first full part of the series was called Year Zero. 2 months before, a countdown showed up on one website. Above the counter there was a text, 7 is sacred. The website featuring countdown clocks proclaiming 7 is sacred changed to 7 has arrived on the day of Year Zero's release. Later, new image emerged. Note in that image, the primes are sacred. All things should be encrypted. Now you're confused. Let me explain. The insect called magic cicada lives a very mathematical life. It lives underground, sucking up plant moisture, emerging only every 13 or 17 years, both prime numbers. Their most recent emergence since the year 2000 happened to occur in the spring of 2017, incidentally as Vault 7 was becoming public. Another curiosity, Cicada 3301, 3 plus 3 plus 0 plus 1 equals 7, aka Cicada 7. The armchair detectives found out one more cicada statement from the beginning of 2017. Those who would destroy our lives by lies will themselves be destroyed by truth. 2 months after that, publication of Vault 7. If we now try to access the same website, we will be redirected to another one. Its name? 7 Exposed. Is this enough to tell that Cicada 3301 actually announced Vault 7 even before WikiLeaks? As I said before, the Cicada 3301 group once stated, "You have undoubtedly heard of a few of our past projects." Is now Bitcoin one of these past projects? Satoshi Nakamoto is the name used by the presumed pseudonymous person or people who developed Bitcoin. If we dig in the archives of Cicada's puzzle of 2014, we will find an image which literally says, "In 2011 and 2012 we advised you to invest in Bitcoin. If you heeded this message, you will now find yourself with an increased sense of freedom from the financial institutions that seek to control your time and energy." As the cicada itself, Nakamoto is still completely anonymous. The shadowy nature of Bitcoin's origin is almost as strange as the identity of the cicada organization. In 2009, he used to say that there is not privacy from the banks and from the governments anymore. I couldn't help but see the similarities between 3301 and Satoshi. Shared values. As noted in the special invitation that was leaked, the Cicada 3301 group's values were closely aligned to the values that drove Satoshi: freedom of information, privacy, anti-censorship, etc. The timeline. Satoshi left the Bitcoin community in April 2011, saying, "I have moved on to other things." The first Cicada puzzle was published in the early January 2012. Note that the initial Bitcoin code release was also in the early January, in 2009. The timeline makes sense in any case. And one curiosity, as you've probably already noted, most of 3301 messages use double spacing after each sentence, which was something Satoshi also did. I mean, who else does some simple things so differently from the others? When WikiLeaks finally started using Bitcoin in 2011, Nakamoto wrote his last message before he disappeared. There are reports saying that back in the 90s, Julian Assange used the chat name Satoshi Tokyo, not very different from Satoshi Nakamoto. isn't it? Now a lot of you would think they are one and the same person. Are they? In 2010, the US government forced companies like Visa, MasterCard and PayPal to turn their back and stop their services to the organization. Wikileaks' answer? Turning to Bitcoin. Satoshi Nakamoto literally begged Wikileaks not to do it. You might wonder why Bitcoin's founder was so alarmed by the news that Wikileaks was seeking to raise funds using the decentralized payment system. 1 week before his final forum post, Nakamoto said, "Bitcoin is a small beta community in its infancy. You would not stand to get more than pocket change, and the hit you would bring would likely destroy us at this stage." The problem was very clear. As Satoshi saw it, unwanted government interest in the nascent digital currency was the last thing it needed at that point in time. Wikileaks has kicked the hornet's nest, and the swarm is headed towards us. With those 13 words, Satoshi Nakamoto stepped into oblivion, leaving a blizzard of unanswered questions that would enshroud his disappearance. This is his final post up until today, January 2021. On the other hand, Wikileaks read and agreed with Satoshi's analysis and decided to put off the launch of a Bitcoin donation channel until the currency had become more established. Wikileaks' Bitcoin donation address was launched after the currency's first major boom on June 14, 2011. Interestingly, the besieged organization opened the floodgates for Bitcoin donations just 2 months after Satoshi's last ever correspondence, an email to collaborator Gavin Anderson. The two organizations seem to have helped each other in every way possible. I've moved on to other things. Satoshi Nakamoto. In 2011, Nakamoto finally disappears. Assange is beginning to have legal troubles, leading to the publishing of the first puzzle by CICADA in the beginning of 2012. Assange is granted asylum into the Ecuadorian embassy a few months after that. CICADA 3301, Bitcoin and Wikileaks, without a doubt share quite a distinctly parallel timeline. But is there any correlation? Haven't you seen it yet? But is CICADA 3301 still active? There are even reports, I would say assumptions, that since we have not heard from them for so many years, actually government officials infiltrated the organization and destroyed from inside. It has been 3301 or 3301 days since the publishing of the first CICADA 3301 puzzle as of January 17th, 2021. I honestly expected some clues. A lot of us expected something more. But no, nothing again. No new questions are rising. But what if we are looking at CICADA the wrong way? CICADA 3301 has proven one thing for sure. They're nothing and they're everything. They're all of that ideas that are coming up to our minds. That is their true charm. That is the real CICADA 3301.